On this episode of the 5P Podcast, I, your host, Michael J. Penny, am joined by Mr. Mike Kitko. You can check him out at mikekitko.com. He is a fellow Marine. He is a leader. He is a speaker. He is an author. Go ahead, check his book out, The Imposter in Charge, when you go to mikekitko.com. He has a great backstory. I'm really looking forward to getting into it. So without further ado, welcome, Mr. Mike Kitko.
Thanks, Michael. It's great to be here. I'm ready to jam. Excited to serve and show up.
Right on, brother. All right. So tell us the problem opportunity that you are facing that you're focused on.
Holy cow. So for the first 43 years of my life, I was who everybody else wanted me to be. And I found myself just ascending the ladder of corporate America, living the American dream, right? I had, bigger houses and nice cars and huge organizations and huge development paths, and people were throwing training at me and development. But inside, I felt internally absolutely powerless, right? It's like I knew I wasn't in my purpose and I wasn't serving what I really wanted, how I really wanted to serve. And it kept accelerating, and I kept being rewarded for being out of alignment until it all came crashing down. And once I made that shift into the only thing I ever loved in corporate was developing people and developing teams. All the rest of it, I could just toss it aside. I didn't give a crap about it. So when I rebuilt my life, I was a suicidal 300-pound alcoholic, right? After Marine Corps training, I allowed myself to get that far out of alignment. And when I rebuilt everything, Michael, I stepped up and I defined that single thing that I wanted to do for the rest of my life and really understood who I am and how I wanted to show up. And now I help other leaders do the exact same thing. People that aren't in their purpose, or people that feel powerless, like they're not in their purpose, or they're in their purpose and they feel powerless. So help them feel powerful in that purpose and make sure they're giving everything every day and not leaving anything on the table.
Right on. Well, that's a huge problem opportunity that's out there, especially within the executive leadership ranks. We've seen it time and again for executive leaders to rise up and, whether they're all about, hey, this is the right job, this is supposed to be the right size paycheck, this is supposed to be the right car and the right house, what the heck is going on? Why do I still feel dead inside? Right. So that leads us essentially to your mission. Because I think it's really cool what you're doing and how you're going out and engaging audiences and how they can read in The Imposter in Charge, how they can read about your experiences overall. So give us your mission. It doesn't need to be verbatim, but your mission statement.
Sure. So The Imposter in Charge, and that's why I went down the track that I went down, is because I felt like an imposter inside, right? I felt like when I launched my coaching business, it was just, I help executives feel as powerful inside as they appear on the outside. So it was realigning that imposter syndrome inside. And there's three primary drivers of the imposter syndrome, and that's insecurity, inadequacy, and insignificance. Those are really the three reasons that you would find yourself out of alignment with who you really want to be and how you want to show up in the world. My mission is to make sure that everyone understands, leaders, executive leaders, professionals. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs as well. Just be able to grow a healthy relationship with insecurity, with inadequacy, help them understand that they're equally as valuable and significant as everybody else, the other 7.7 billion people on the face of the planet, that they don't have to be where they don't want to be at any given time. They can shift their ass out of pain and into purpose at the drop of a hat. I did it. I know it can happen. It took me just understanding, getting really, really intricately familiar with who I really am. And I'm a spiritual guy, right? It's about finding that your soul's essence, right? Your mind will tell you who you're not. Your mind will take you down a tricky slope, and it'll just keep you heading in or compounding, the wrong things for you. So it's getting into your soul and identifying who am I? And why did I show up on this freaking rock that's flying 66,000 miles around this 20 million degree freaking ball of gas? Why did I show up? What am I here to achieve? And until you find that, until you really identify that thing, you're going to feel out of alignment. You're going to feel like you're leaving a whole lot on the table. Is this really all that life is? And then for me, that led to 300-pound alcoholic, abusive to my wife and my children. And it really wasn't like the best life I could possibly live. But
Oh, of
once you make
course.
that shift, man, everybody, like God, the universe, people come from far and wide to get behind you in that purpose.
Amen. Hey, if you're just joining us, go to MikeKitko.com. Check out Mike Kitko, fellow Marine. He is a speaker, an inspirational speaker, yes, but he's also focused on that executive leadership coaching, getting right into the purpose of your existence, right, from an individual standpoint. I think it's great how you bake some good orderly direction into what we're talking about here, because it gets people right from the close-hearted perspective to start to align with other folks that are out there. One of the reasons why I'm so drawn to your story is because I find threads of my own backstory in it, to where it's like, dude, I can't be doing this. This is totally out of alignment of my purpose overall. I need to focus on good, close-hearted people and add value to their overall situation as well. Did you find that along your journey? Did you find reciprocity, fellowship out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in my alcoholic state, I was surrounded by people with alcohol issues. I mean, they were everywhere, right? I attracted all of that into my life, and literally those people were cheerleading me to death. I mean, they were like excited for me to drink that next beer, and they were like excited for me to kill myself. And when I pivoted in my journey, and I mean, Michael, I had to wipe the slate clean. It's like, you are the average of the top 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you look at the people, the amount of income that they have in their life, the health that they have in themselves, the relationships that they've built, if they're in their purpose or not, look at the people that you're surrounded by, and you're going to become them. And I was surrounded by a bunch of alcoholics, some Marine Corps brothers, right? I mean, no doubt, some Marine Corps brothers that were living the same exact Marine Corps existence 20 years after we departed from the Marine Corps. So
right.
we really hadn't figured out who we wanted to be when we grew up. And when I wiped that slate clean and I started getting into executive masterminds with these 2 comma guys that were pulling in, 7 and 8 figures a year, and I saw how they thought and how they acted and what their day looked like, their morning looked like, and you start to emulate those guys. When you get in a room with powerful people, when you listen to powerful people, it's like they bring you up immediately. Like, you become who you surround yourself with.
Amen.
And when you're around a bunch of people who feel that toxicity or killing yourself or sacrificing your own well-being for everyone else's benefit, when you're surrounded by that, you're going to become that. And that was the greatest shift that I ever had. The first time I was sitting in a room with people that it looked like they had it all. And I mean, they had material wealth, but they also had joy and happiness and health and relational prosperity. When I saw how they acted, I knew I wanted a piece of that. And that was what I eventually became.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so off the top of your head, let's throw a little bit of a curveball question in here. Off the top of your head, could you name 1 to 3 people and potentially the books that they wrote, the lessons that you learned from them, something like that? 1 to 3 people that you would call upon, let's say, as influential?
So I'm gonna. There's two people that rise in my mind when you say that. And listen, they don't have similar messages. And in fact, they're kind of contradictory. But when you eat the fruit and spit out the seeds of what each of them saying, I think you'll find a life you can live really, really well. And the first is my spiritual guy, Eckhart Tolle, right? The Power of Now, the New Earth. Man, there's so much joy and beauty and love in that book of just sitting back, relaxing, breathing, and enjoying life. Because if you're not having fun in life, you're doing it all wrong, right? If you're not waking up excited and motivated and like in love with your life, you got it all wrong. And there's a huge shift that's just sitting there waiting for you. So an Eckhart Tolle really helps you understand your role as a soul, your role as a human, and how to kind of downshift and really enjoy everything that life offers. Now, contradictory to that is Grant Cardone, right? Grant Cardone's like, freaking downshift and let's go faster, right? So, action, 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 serve, give everybody your very best. It's about success in your relationship, success in your health, success in your business, prosperity. It's about achievement, 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 achievement. I love both of their messages. And you can blend them. And this is where, like I say, when you eat the fruit and spit out the seeds of both, right? It's not just about sitting on a park bench the rest of your life and just watching the birds. And it's not about sacrificing your life for success. It's about blending those and living soul out, literally getting everything that you can from life. And achievement is part of the human experience. It's part of our journey.
Oh, absolutely it is. Well, and it's great that you bring up those two wonderful lines in that they are somewhat juxtaposed, but at the same time, you're absolutely right. You have to have that breathing, clarity, gratitude, take stock of what you got, move forward into action. And when you are committing that action, it's going to be diligent. It's not going to be haywire.
Sure.
Right? Because this gray matter up here is great at problem solving and problem producing, and it's ping ponging around in there. If we can breathe and get down into that amphibian brain and just take the time, whether it's meditation or working out or doing something to pull out of the gray matter that allows us that high priority problem that we really need to hammer away on. And when it's time to take action, we take hard, heavy action. So I hear exactly what you're saying. I think here's the irony. You ready? From a Marine Corps standpoint, let's hurry up and wait. When you're waiting while you're there, let's take a breath. And then when the action fires up, man, you better be ready to go. You better be ready to rock.
Yeah.
We didn't realize almost how some of that stuff is really baked in to how we do things. Hey, we've got to stage here, coordinate here, other stuff. We're around our brethren. We're working together in that capacity. So it's interesting in that you find other key leaders that are out there. You're reading the same stuff as I am. We're engaged in the same stuff. Now we can find that fellowship outside of the military. But it's very interesting in military personnel, key leaders, other stuff like that, and the way that mentality actually translates out to a civilian leader who has never once served a day in the military, but they still have that come on now, we're going to get up and go, we're going to take it to the enemy. They're out there fighting every single day, but they're looking internally, trying to figure out what is that purpose essentially with what they're doing. And you really are aligning those two things together at MikeKitko.com. Check out Mike Kitko. Check out the Imposter in Charge. While you're there, you can read an excerpt of the book. So go to MikeKitko.com. Check it out right now. If you're on the podcast listening to this, it's KITKO. It's Kilo India Tango, Kilo Oscar. Go to MikeKitko.com. And for those of you who are watching the videos and everything that are out there, remember all of our long form interviews are at 5paragraph.com inside of the 5P Inner Circle. So Mike Kitko, you're talking about on one hand, you got to take a breath and you got to relax. And on the other hand, you got to go 10 times the amount of action, right? So it's like you've got to be able to breathe, figure out the problem that you actually want to focus yourself into, and then be able to go out and execute on that. So if this is resonating with audience members as they're listening to Mike Kitko at MikeKitko.com, how can people connect with you one-on-one on a personal level?
Yeah, so if you go to my website, you're going to be greeted by a banner that says, hey, are you ready for professional growth? And all you have to do is click that button, and it's going to take you to my scheduler page. You can put some time on my calendar, and we will jam. And what I promise you, like at 4:30 this morning, right, without the alarm, I woke up, I meditated, I got my PT in for the day, I read some really powerful, information. I got my mind right, and then my wife woke up, and my kids are still sleeping, but my wife and my kids will get the very, very best of me. Here's what I promise you. When I jump on the phone call, you will get the best of me. I will show up. So all you have to do is show up for yourself, schedule some time, and we'll jam. I've got opportunities with, group coaching and membership, a mastermind. I've got courses. There's an opportunity to grow as a leader, as a professional. All you have to do is engage with me, and I'll serve you from where you are.
Fantastic. So it really is, you're not geographically specific. You're engaging with folks all across the nation, all across the globe. Anybody who's looking to get in touch with you can go to MikeKitko.com. Boom, click, reach out. Now, are you also on any other social media platforms that you like connecting with other folks on?
I do a little bit on LinkedIn, but mostly Facebook, and that's primarily where I serve from my business page. But yeah, I do a lot of public speaking, podcasts. That's really where the message gets out.
Excellent. Well, I just love being able to provide resources for folks to be able to get a better understanding, a feel for you, out there in the general public before they wind up jumping on the call with you. Is there any other, say, homework that folks might be able to do before they actually get into that call with you so that they can get the most juice for the squeeze?
Yeah, so take inventory of where you are in 3 places in your life. So where you are in your own personal authority. And what I mean by that is your physical, your mental, your emotional, your financial, your spiritual states, right? Take inventory of where you are. I want to know your obstacles, right? And where you are, like what you want to achieve in your life, what outcomes you're looking to achieve. In your career, are you satisfied with how you're showing up in your career? Are you where you want to be? Do you have a picture of where you want to be, but you feel like you can't get there? I want to know those things. And last but not least important is your family. I want to know how your family, like your unity, your unification is as your family. Because listen, this is about carrying out our mission, right? As business owners, as executives, about business leadership, but not losing ourselves or our family in the process. So it's the holistic approach of leading yourself, leading your business, and leading your family. And I really want to know all 3 of those, because I'm not going to focus on one. I'm going to hold you accountable for thriving in all 3 areas of your life. It's about total whole body, whole life, whole experience success, not just getting a little piece and thinking that that's going to satisfy your soul.
Excellent. Excellent. I love the fact that you're holding others accountable. I love the reciprocity associated with that. We ourselves cleaning up the house before we start, talking to others about cleaning up their own. Love that. Excellent message that's out there. I especially love the fact that you are a very approachable person. You're not a million miles an hour screaming at people. You're not looking to do the drill instructor thing. That's the other side of this that a lot of people hear. Whoa, this guy's a Marine. He's going to be super, super, super intense, because that's just how we all are, I guess. But when you go to MikeKitko.com and you see how he is, I'm talking about, this is a jovial person, man. This is somebody who's living with purpose right here, not someone who's going to rake you over a cheese grater, okay? So get in touch with Mike Kitko. Go ahead, go to MikeKitko.com. Make sure that you grab The Imposter in Charge. I'm going to have to get that book. I'm going to have to read it and give you fine folks a book review on this one. So check out MikeKitko.com. If you're a leader out there, you believe that your people could draw inspiration, a little courage, strength, and hope out of the message that's coming along here, all right, go ahead, get in touch with Mike Kitko. Bring him in your organization. He's going to be able to inspire whole audiences of your people. How do you get that accountability out of your people? How do you get that mission buy-in out of your people? Are they themselves living with a purpose, right? If you're hurting, imagine how many others are climbing the ladder right now that could benefit from this message. So go to MikeKitko.com. Check him out. Marine veteran, serious, massive ownership of the situation that he was in resonates with you, the leader, to be able to empower you. So you will find courage, strength, and hope, I'm sure, just in reading through his story. Honestly, I was very shocked in reading through your story at how openly you admitted those things in a public space. And that level of accountability is huge for me.
Man, one of the most painful things I have to work with, especially the guys that I work with, right? The ladies are a little more open to it, but the guys struggle because they feel like, man, this is the imposter in charge, right? It's inadequacy, it's insecurity. It's if I express like that I'm scared, if I express that I feel like I'm good enough, then everyone's going to reject me. And I'll tell you, it's the exact opposite, guys. when you're open and you're vulnerable. I've done more business with people because I said, for 16 plus years, I physically, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes sexually abused my wife, right? When I recognize and I let people know that my kids grew up in an abusive alcoholic family or in a household and it wasn't safe for them at all times. When I express that, it connects with people who are in pain. And those are the people that are looking for hope. They're looking for a way to scratch and claw their way out of that circumstance. They just don't know how to do it. So people connect with your pain. People will buy their way out of hell. People will buy their way out of pain. They won't necessarily buy their way into heaven. So expressing who we are, expressing the pain that we're in, the challenges that we're facing at that moment is the way to invite people into your life to help you on your journey. And in the process of them helping you on your journey, you get to help them as well. Because when I tell people my shit, when I tell people my deepest, darkest shadows, it helps other people feel normal. They don't judge me. It helps them feel normal, right? So that has been the key ally in all of this. The Imposter in Charge is riddled with stories of me waking up on my bedroom floor and after a night with my wife where I didn't even remember that I had pushed her out of the bedroom and that I was physically abusive. I mean, these stories are in the Imposter in Charge for a reason, because I feel like I've got people to serve and help. But if I show myself as perfect, then I'm unapproachable. But if I show myself as a human being who has struggles, who's had challenges, who has challenges now, if I show that side of me, then I feel like more approachable, relatable, connectable, and then they let me in, not just in their life, but in their heart.
Amen, brother. I love the message. You are adding value to the world, and I greatly appreciate it. So, folks, if you're looking to get some of that courage, strength, and hope, some of that value, go check out MikeKitko.com. Check out Mike Kitko and his backstory. And as a fellow Marine, I greatly appreciate what you're doing, how you're adding value out there. Semper Fidelis, dude, always. So I greatly appreciate it. All right, in closing, do you have any final remarks, save rounds, comments, suggestions about how people can get engaged with you?
Yeah, I would just leave it with this. If you're not waking up completely on fire for life, if you feel like you're leaving a lot on the table on a daily basis, just one connection, one phone call. Just give me half an hour, give me an hour of your time, and I'll show you how you can shift into a completely different life on a dime, right? My first conversation I ever had with a coach after I started my rebuilding process, he asked me, how much water are you drinking? I thought it was an asinine question. But when you're not taking care of yourself, nothing else is fully going to come into alignment. Just give me some time, and I can't wait to connect with you.
Amen, brother.
There you go. There you go. So,
hey, dude, these are proven things. We're all just humans, right?
The simplest stuff will make the greatest impact in your life. Oxygen, water, nutrition, exercise, and rest. When you anchor your life in those 5 things, your purpose comes to you. You don't necessarily have to find your purpose. You'll find it. It'll find you. And once you get into your purpose, everything in the world aligns to support you.
Excellent. Fantastic. Folks, check out Mike Kitko at MikeKitko.com. Thank you for joining us on the 5P podcast. I sincerely appreciate you being here with us. And people, if you're listening out there, be sure to go to MikeKitko.com, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. If you're viewing all of our videos out there on YouTube, click subscribe and ring that bell so that you're notified whenever we've got our interviews released. Folks, if you haven't already done so, check out the 5-paragraph business plan based on the 5-paragraph operations order that we know and love in the U.S. military. It is the same cycle operations that we employ downrange. It's how you get the mission going, how you get it done, and how you maintain accountability in the long term. You can check out all of our learning experience in the 5P Inner Circle, all of our templates, all of our downloads, and join your virtual mastermind group inside of the 5P Inner Circle. We're also going to see this full-length, uninterrupted interview with Mike Kitko. So thank you so much for being a part of the greater overall 5P family. We are grateful for you. Until next time, take care and be well. you.